Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today's video is another Weird Wisconsin, and today I'm going to be talking about the Oleo Wars of 1895 through 1967. Now you might think, I've never heard of these. What is Oleo? If I'm saying that correctly, we don't know. The Oleo Wars are wars against margarine. Margarine's full name is oleomargarine. It's just fake butter, basically. And there was a ban of margarine for 72 years in the state of Wisconsin. Now, many other states did ban this alternative to butter, but Wisconsin held on with its bare hands. It was one of the last people to let it go. So today I'm going to be talking about the long and interesting history of the margarine ban in the state of Wisconsin. Oleomargarine was first introduced in Europe, inspired by a prize offered by the French government at the Paris World Exposition to basically make a cheaper butter. A French chemist created a product primarily made of margaric, which was a recently discovered fatty acid. Margarine production began in the United States in 1875. By 1886, by the behest of the threatened dairy industry, 24 states passed laws banning or lowering the production or affecting margarine. The Federal Oleomargarine Act imposed taxes and fees on the production of margarine. Wisconsin passed the first of its anti-margarine laws in 1881. This law stated that manufacturers of margarine could not say it was butter. They on the package had to say it was margarine, which obviously people making margarine, they were going to do that anyway, but whatever. In 1885, the state passed a more sweeping act which banned manufacturing and selling of margarine dyed a butter yellow. Through the first half of the 20th century, farmers were getting pitted against scientists saying which one was healthier, more natural, more, good for the environment, good for your body. Farmers were like, butter, it's made from a cow, it's what we need. And then the margarine people are like, but this is cheaper and it gives you the same benefits and whatever their excuses were. And they're like, and they were pitting against each other. During World War II, the consumption of margarine was more amped up because obviously less people to be producing butter because there's a war going on. So laws started to lax at this point. The government repealed its margarine taxes in the 1950s, and many states had already either really laxed on their taxes and stuff like that, or just got rid of their laws in their state as a whole. However, Wisconsin held on with its bare hands and did not repeal their law against margarine until 1967. Now, during this whole debacle over butter or margarine, there's a few key events that happened that really define the Oleo Wars. In 1953, the state's agricultural chief admitted that there was widespread violation of the Oleo laws, and that you had to have a dollar license to even bring it into the state, because by this time, a lot of states around Wisconsin either had very lax laws against margarine or none at all. So Wisconsinites would travel to other states to get it and bring it back. So now they were like, yeah, now you have to have a license for that. And also there's taxes per pound, 6 cents. In 1954, a sheriff was on the other side of this law. He was caught bringing margarine from other states to the prison that he worked at, basically feeding it to prisoners. He didn't think anything was wrong with it. He didn't know. He was like, hey, whatever. And he was fined $50. In 1958, a spokesman for the American Soybean Association, which opposed the yellow margarine ban, called the state's tax a yellow curtain. It is an open secret that Wisconsin citizens travel across state lines into Illinois and Iowa to purchase yellow margarine. The state has inspectors at the border to detect violators. This certainly smacks of police state methods. In 1963, during a debate in the legislature over repealing the state's 15-cent tax against margarine, a Democratic state representative from Racine claimed that 64,000 pounds, 32 tons, of margarine were bootlegged into Wisconsin every single week. Damn, that's a lot. Because of the laws against margarine, people were just sneaking it in. So he's just like, dude, everyone else is already getting rid of this law. Let's just get rid of it too. Wisconsin's like, nah. In 1964, only 59 Wisconsin families legally used colored margarine, according to state tax records. For comparison, the Milwaukee Journal's annual consumer analysis survey showed that estimated 134,500 bought margarine, yellow or otherwise, monthly. In 1964, women lead the charge. Members of the Wisconsin Federation of Women's Clubs organized a over-the-border shopping trip to Illinois where they all just hop the border, buy a ton of margarine, and then bring it back. This group ends up leading the charge into bringing this to legislature and being like, hey guys, let's just stop this ban. This is stupid. In 65, someone who was very against margarine failed a taste test. State Senator Gordon Rosip, a Republican from Darlington, and one of the biggest people who was like, we can't have margarine in the state, no sir, had to take a taste test blindfolded between margarine and butter, and he failed. In 1990, a year after he died, it was revealed that his family had been secretly feeding him margarine dyed yellow. Because he was a little overweight, and they were sneaking in margarine and feeding it to him, telling him it was butter because it's just better for you, right? They were trying to help him, like, with his weight. So he failed that test because he had been eating margarine the whole time, and he was solely convinced he was eating butter, and he wasn't. He wasn't even eating butter. Now you know why he failed the test. In 1966, the state assembly approved a bill legalizing colored margarine, leading assembly leader Frank Nicolay to say the measure would crucify the family-sized farmer on a cross of margarine. What a weird thing to say. That's a very interesting image, though. Crucified farmer on a freaking cross made out of fake butter. Okay. In 1967, Rosip, still fighting against this introduction of margarine back into his state, said, and he said this, "Why did God Almighty manufacture butter? To build good bodies for the future of this nation. This oleo isn't the true stuff. Don't kid yourself. God made butter, so we should eat it. Okay. But man had to make the butter. Do you know what I mean? Butter does not come naturally. You had to make that. Just saying." In 1967, Governor Warren Knowles signs the bill repealing Wisconsin's 72-year-old ban on the sale of oleomargarine. At the bill signing, he's flanked by 10 women, several of them from the Wisconsin Federal of Women's Clubs, who had been leading the charge in repealing this ban. The women, including his wife, were all dressed in butter yellow. Nowadays, when you go to the grocery store, you could buy butter or you could buy margarine. It is in stores all across the state and the country. However, some of the laws linger. If you go to a restaurant, a school, any public facility, they cannot serve you margarine without you knowing. You have to specifically ask for margarine, or they have to offer butter and margarine. They can't offer just margarine. You have to ask for it. If they do this, they can get fined $500 and spend 3 months in jail. And if they continue to break this law, they could spend a year in prison. Does anyone really actually enforce this law anymore? Probably not, but technically they could go to jail for that. This penalty is similar to those of a Class B or C misdemeanor, which is harassing phone calls or messages, disorderly conduct, food stamp fraud up to $100, and letting a prisoner escape. This ban, or if you serve someone margarine and they don't know it, is the same level as if a prisoner escaped prison. Or you're doing food stamp fraud. What? I don't know if anyone even enforces this law. Supposedly, back in the day, if you were bootlegging margarine, you could get fined up to $6,000. But there's no evidence that that was ever, actually done. I don't know if any officer ever arrested a bootlegger for margarine and then charged them $6,000. But that's crazy. But I didn't even know that margarine was banned in my state until I found out that the margarine ban existed. And the fact that they treated margarine like it was a drug, Like, people had to hop borders to get margarine and bring it back. They were charged. You know, you could get a $6,000 fine if you were caught bootlegging it. It's like, it's margarine, dude. It's fake butter. It's a butter alternative. It's not alcohol. It's not drugs. You know what I mean? Maybe it affects the dairy industry. Oh, no. But if you Google today, butter is way more popular than margarine. Like, it is still one of the highest grossing things in the dairy industry. Margarine did not really do anything. A lot of people do use the alternative, and that's totally fine. You can buy it in any grocery store you go to nowadays, right? But the fact that they were so scared that they thought margarine was going to take over butter, that they banned it for almost 100 years because they were like, not in my state. Are you for real? It's just... Sometimes I learn about my state's history and I'm just blown away at some of the stupid stuff that happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll be back again next week with another one. Alright guys, I'll see you later.